late February to bill me for a December 11th ambulance ride.
All right, good morning, everyone. It being 9 o'clock on Wednesday, July 12th, I'd like to call the Kane County Human Services Committee to order.
Such as it is.
Roll call, please.
Allen. Kenyon.
Here.
Lewis.
Who's here?
Silva. Tarver.
Carver's here.
Linder.
Linda here.
Surges.
Sturgis here.
Kepi.
Happy here.
Person quorum.
So we have an in-person quorum, and I believe the decorum now is that if we have remote attendance, we would ask now if for approval, but I don't think we have any of that. Anybody has requested that today. So I would accept a request for approval of minutes, God bless you, from the June 14th, 2023 meeting.
Linda moves.
Tarver seconds. Linder and Tarver, any discussion on those? And I believe that's roll call.
Not if you did unanimous.
Kenyon.
Yes. Yes.
Lewis.
Who's yes?
Tarver.
Yes.
Linder.
Linda, yes.
Surges.
Sturgis, yes.
Passes.
Let the record reflect, Ms. Silva is in the room. Good morning.
Dang, she has a backpack.
I don't believe we have anybody signed up for public comment. Although I do want to mention that Gabe is in the house, so. Monthly financial reports, I believe, are attached and on file. Jamie, item 7, Department of Human Resource Management.
Good morning.
Come on, let Christine do it.
No, that's okay. I got it. Starting with the monthly Blue Cross Blue Shield invoice, those amounts are all in tolerance. We've been trending pretty good so far this year. Our estimates have been good. So right about 1.4 million is about normal for our insurance bill. The next slide, next sheet is the Blue Cross MERP enrollees. We are at 68. Again, we used to trend around 60. Now we're trending a little closer to 70. So that's been holding as well. Following that up, we have the health insurance financial tracker. So the 2023 tracker, if you want to go forward, keep going. A couple more pages to the one more.
That MERP was down just a little bit from the previous month. Was it down 2?
Yeah, it's down 2. I think we had some employees that terminated their employment. One more page if you could, Blair. So the 2023, as you can see, we're actually in the green so far this year, and bills are still coming in for the beginning of the year. So this does fluctuate, but our estimates have been good and we're trending right about where we expect to be for this year. Any questions on the health plan?
Perfect.
Workers' compensation reports, everything there, workers' compensation and liability are within tolerance. If there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer them, but the program is moving along nicely. Later in this packet, we will have a resolution that approves continuing our relationship with CCMSI, who is our third-party administrator for all of our insurance. So we are looking to, we did RFP that and choose CCMSI again as our choice.
Perfect.
The job applicants and new hires. Again, we're seeing, a good number of applications coming in. So we're seeing good rebound to the job applications that come in for our different open positions. We have new hires as well as a termination report attached. Anyone have any questions?
Jamie, what is the job? We've had discussions in this committee a bit regarding work from home and the termination or the expiration of that. The general job market, are things loosening up or still very tight? I know that in the corporate world, we are really, when I speak with my CEO peers, one person slams on the desk and she says, I need my people back in the office. And the next person goes, yeah, how are you going to make that happen? And what do you?
I think that varies pretty strongly from industry to industry. The county is very heavily a public service. And so we didn't have as much work from home deployed. So because we still have to serve the public and it's very necessary to be in person to an extent to serve the public. So we did not have as much work from home deployed, I think, as a lot of private companies may have. Generally speaking, if arrangements are working well and being productive, it is up to the department head. If they need to bring the staff back for the functioning of their office, then they have done so. I do believe there is still some work from home that occurs with the department head approval. And as long as that is functioning well for the department and everyone is being productive, there's no reason that can't continue. But if there is a value to having in person, I believe those have already been brought back. Because like I said, in a lot of cases, we were serving the public and we weren't able to deploy those people to home in the first place.
Interesting. It's up at the north end, we had a graphic design studio actually lease their space out because they have determined people were just as productive working from home, that they didn't need it. And coincidentally, they leased it to a company who all of their people wanted to come back in and needed a bigger space. And I was just like, well, isn't that just a contradiction of terms? And okay, yay. So
I think it's very industry specific. There's a lot of industries that benefit greatly from collaboration of the teams. And then there's a lot of industries that are creative in nature where the work is very individual and doesn't require as much collaboration. So if you're talking graphic design, that may be the work of an individual and they may only need to collaborate once in a while. But again, as ours is public service, it really demands that we be here to serve the public.
thanks for your insight. Bless you. Do you have any questions on the applicants or staff changes? Okay. HR updates, item F, anything?
This is just the monthly training report. As we're getting into summer, we'll start getting down on any people that we've missed. Come August is when we'll start following up with the individuals. So that's starting to approach, but as you can see, compared to previous years, we already have over 1,000 people. So it's really, as we've continued this year after year, and this is of course a state law compliance. So this is something we're compelled to do by state mandate. People are becoming adjusted to it and we're having an easier time getting our compliance.
Thank you, Jamie. State's attorneys in the room, do we have anything for you that needed? I don't want to keep you if you. Okay. Item 9A, old business, a resolution authorizing the county to contract with Humana Inc. to provide the 2024 healthcare continuation coverage for Medicare eligible retired and disabled employees and their surviving spouses.
Kenyon would make that motion.
Silva motions, Kenyon seconds. Jamie, you want to?
This is a continuation of our Humana plan that we provide to Kane County retirees who are Medicare eligible. Once a retiree, we continue their insurance if they would like to opt into that. Once they reach Medicare eligibility, they go on Medicare and they're eligible for our Medicare supplement plan. The Humana plan is really the gold standard of Medicare supplement plans. It's been very popular with our retirees. The county doesn't cost the county anything beyond our administration costs of our staff administering the plan. The retiree does pay that whole premium. So there's not a budgetary impact to this other than we as staff manage this program for our retirees.
Perfect question, Mike.
Yeah, Linda, Jamie, does our consultant look at this plan as much as he's looking at it? Not as much, but does he look at this?
Yes, this is shopped by our consultant as well.
Okay, thank you.
Has Carver here, has the prices changed for those employees?
It has, I think it was $299 a month. $309. It was $309 a month previously. So it has gone up, but the amount that it went up is consistent with the market.
Okay, thank you.
No other questions? Please call the vote.
Allen,
Allen, I.
Kenyon, Lewis,
Lewis, yes.
Silva,
Silva, yes.
Tarver,
Tarver, yes.
Linder,
Linda, yes.
Surges.
Surges, yes.
Passes.
Jamie, would it be okay as this moves the finance? Can I characterize this as housekeeping? Would that be okay with this one?
For the
For
next
item
one,
A, for item A, the
For item A,
resolution we just did.
yes, it's maintaining the current status. It does not represent a change.
Thank you. Item B, resolution authorizing contract for workers' compensation and liability claims third-party administrator.
Ellen moves.
Silva moves. Ms.
Allen
Allen seconds. May the record reflect Deb is in the house. Jamie, go ahead.
As I was stating earlier, when we were going over our workers' comp and liability forms, CCMSI is our current third-party administrator. We work extremely closely with them. I believe they came earlier this year and presented to the committee some of the work that we do. We have a lot of touch points with CCMSI every single day as we manage these very large programs. And they have been an excellent partner to us. We did put it out for RFP earlier this year, according to purchasing rules. And we did receive 2 detailed proposals that we reviewed and ultimately chose CCMSI as the best option.
And for the committee's edification, this was the group that 2, 3, 4 years ago, when we were challenged with workers' compensation trending that was not positive, we turned to them, asked for a consultation, and the result was we needed another body. We needed another person, a claims adjuster, to work with us. And you'll oftentimes hear me, colloquially say, you need to spend a buck to make a buck. The spend for this extra staff person has benefited us tenfold in bringing these rates under control and trending positively. And I would love to take great credit for that, but that was our vendor and that was a great move. So fair, am I fair in that statement?
Absolutely. They've been an excellent partner and I believe they pay for themselves in cost control measures, especially in our workers' comp program.
Thank you so much. Any questions on this? Yes, Monica.
Good morning. It's
State your name.
Silva.
Hey.
I actually have a couple of questions. Remind me again, please. I used to know this information, but so we're self-funded.
are.
What is our deductible? Or up to a certain percent, or how does that work?
Stop loss up to.
Stop loss.
$850,000
is that
per
what
instance.
we're up to? Yeah.
850,000.
So we self-fund to 850 if it's a large, a death, somebody's hit by a bus, something like that. But anything smaller, we're taking on ourselves.
And is that annually per occurrence or how?
That's
That can't be
per occurrence. So it's not
Really?
based on the year, it's per occurrence. So an occurrence, some of these cases often last multiple years if there's serious injuries. It's per occurrence, per case. So if a case over the course of several years were to exceed that $850,000, that would still go into excess coverage.
Okay, thank you.
And we do keep reports that show, as I believe you're aware, there are reserves that are established for these claims, and those reserves can easily sit out there 12 months, 24 months, 36 months, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, at the time in which a claim occurs and is filed, a reserve is set that represents what we reasonably believe the total claim to cost over the lifetime of the claim. Those do get reevaluated periodically as circumstances change, but those reserve balances represent what we expect to pay over the life of the claim.
Thank you.
Deb?
I don't
State your
know
name.
enough about, Alan, I don't know enough about your industry to know when we added the extra person to help us with our claims, is that person housed within the agency we hire as opposed to someone who is housed with us?
They are, that is correct.
Okay.
They are not housed here. They sit with the other firm, but again, in our earlier conversation, this might as well be a work from home situation. It is a third-party administrator that takes care of all this, but the cooperative nature between Jamie's department, between the third-party administrator, between the state's attorney, they work so collaboratively on this. And Deb, you've heard me say 1,000 times that it's difficult to have this committee the day after the board meeting, because there are times that at a board meeting, we go into executive session to discuss large settlements, and then we come here the next morning and go, golly, we're trending great. Well, really, we weren't yesterday, but cumulatively, we are doing exceptionally, and I believe it's because of that collaboration and that culture that we've tried to create. So does that answer your question?
Absolutely. Thank you.
Mike,
Um,
state your name.
Linder here.
Thank you.
Going back to the stop loss or excess coverage. And the medical coverage for our employees, we have a per case and then an aggregate. I would assume because these cases start and stop at different times, there's no aggregate coverage in this, or is there?
That's correct. There is no aggregate.
Are we limited by state statute to the amount that is paid out or available to be paid out to an employee?
The type of injury sustained can make that vary greatly, but I can review the statute for if there's any limitations, if you'd like, but I'm not entirely sure there. I know there's a lot of variance. A lot of times the amounts paid out are dependent on the injury, and it's often stated in things like percent loss of the use of the leg, or percent loss of the man as a whole, things like that. So it's dependent on the extent of the injury.
Like, my experience would say that Illinois is probably at the looser end of some states that have imposed limits for certain, because I believe what once was the Wild West, I believe technology wise, we are able to say if somebody broke their leg, we can put $1 on that because of the amount of information that has come in, a range on what that should pay out. I don't know that Illinois is a state that has adopted that or embraced that in its totality yet. And we, we continue to go to Springfield and fight for that whenever we can. But we want to be fair to the employee that's injured. On the other hand, you don't want it to be so open-ended that you can't even actuarially, predict. And so we don't have that. The stop loss exists because that's what we need. We need that backing to make sure if it goes over this, but I think that's the best we can do right now. Does that make sense? Okay. Ms. Juby?
This is Leslie Juby. I just have a quick question on the executive summary addendum. It says that this item it's not applicable for budgeting or appropriation amount, but we are actually appropriating money for it. So I didn't understand why that shows up on that. That's on page 56.
I don't know that I can answer that.
There's no associated budget adjustment because this is for 2024 and it will be built into the 2024
Okay, so it's
budget.
for next year.
It is, yes.
Thank you.
With no other questions, let's call the vote.
Allen,
Alan, I.
Kenyon. Lewis,
Lewis, yes.
Silva,
Silva, yes.
Tarver,
Tarver, yes.
Linder,
Linder, yes.
Surges.
Surges, yes.
Passes.
Okay, before reports being placed on file, if I could, for the good of the order, I believe we have a special board meeting coming up, which is a result of this committee regarding Blue Cross Blue Shield. I just wanted to make sure that any of our 24 brethren that come and say, hey, what did you think of this? Where are we at on this? That at least this committee has the simultaneous response that, we are bringing it to all 24 for a vote, that we are not making a recommendation out of committee. Our job was to gather, our job was to hone, our job was to put together the best offers that we possibly can. And rather than, it was the horse and pony show, we're bringing in our professional to say, black and white, here's the information. Please have your vote, take a vote. And Jamie, I believe we're doing that in July at a special board meeting,
Yes.
which should give us more than ample time for the rest of the process to take place. Is that accurate?
Yes, sir. That meeting is scheduled for next week.
Okay, but committee wise, does anybody have any questions on that process? Do you have any questions for how we're doing this in any way, shape or form? And I do want to say that while it was my task with the department to get the best deals and move that forward, I am going to recuse myself from any vote on that personally. We'll have 23 people. That will be an odd number. Go ahead and take the vote. My job was to get it to the table. I think we've done that honorably and but unload on Mike Baker and ask any question you have and get as granular as you think you want to get on this, because this is a big choice. So, Mr. Linder.
Cliff, we chatted just a little bit in the hallway kind of a thing, about some of the bells and whistles and so forth. Are we done negotiating with both companies at this point?
I think if the goal was to have the best and final, I think we're there. And Mike will detail for you who's adjusted what, or who's thrown in what, or what's been added or subtracted. And, you know, again, I think that, you know, some of it's going to be pleasantly surprised, some of it's going to be aw shucks, and some of it's going to be what's the right thing? You know, you guys hear me say all the time, what's the next right thing to do?
Sure.
I don't know that. You know, it's a personal thing, and just tally the votes.
Yeah, I'm looking at that last thing from United where they offered to possibly give us a nurse who would be on site.
That's
with
pretty
them.
cool. I gotta admit.
That would be something that, you know, if Blue Cross was willing to match that, that would be nice, but we've been there, done that. It's not happening. So.
If that was important to you and you felt that, I would get that over to Mr. Baker and tell Big Blue that this was offered by the other folks. Do you have the ability to match that, and just see what their response might be? I have not given him that direction.
If we have a week to ask that question, I would be interested in hearing their answer.
Certainly.
Because I think that could be for me, tough decision.
Okay.
If it was in both places, I know where I'd go.
I think it's very fair. I mean, that's why I brought this up.
Yep, that's,
It's a great question. Yep. And I'm trying not to get that in detail because I don't want to, on the public record, what each person has
well, yeah. we don't
offered or
want-
not
Yeah, I
offered,
know,
but
we don't.
but that's a great point. Yes.
Yeah.
Anita?
Louis here. So before the special meeting on Tuesday, and we will be voting on this Tuesday,
Yes.
will we have the packet that he's going to present ahead of time so we can actually look at it?
That will be available posted. Yes, that will be
Okay.
posted online with the materials that we have for Mr. Baker.
Okay.
I'm going to push it for a deadline. Will it post, can we get it posted by Friday? So people have the weekend to review it?
Have to.
As far as I know, yes, the county board staff does do that, but I expect that should not be a problem.
That'd be okay?
Yeah, I just want to make sure we all see it because sometimes we get things passed out to us at a meeting. And then I like to digest things. It takes me a little longer now that I'm getting older, you know.
Anita, I'm a little slow. Okay, maybe I'm a lot slow, so it takes me a while.
What's a big decision?
I agree,
Big
totally.
decision. So, all right. Thank you.
And Vern is offering you his.
Good.
Anybody, Deb,
Alan,
Ellen?
so we'll be voting at the meeting on the 18th.
Yeah, that'll be
It
final. Yeah.
Won't be a referral to the August meeting. We'll take care of it.
Nope, we're doing it. We need it by August
Okay.
in order to make it for open enrollment. So.
Good.
Yep. Okay. That being said, can I have a motion to report, place reports on file?
I moved. the
Alan
reports
moved.
be Placed on file.
Carver seconds. Is that an all in favor? Okay, roll call there. You would think. at some
Alan?
point I would know.
Alan, I.
Kenyon,
Yes.
Lewis,
Yes.
Silva. Tarver,
Carver, yes.
Linder,
Under, yes.
Burgess.
Burgess, yes. Mr. Kenyon,
I'd like to move, we adjourn and notice the clock. This is a record time. Congratulations.
thank you, sir.
Your counseling has paid off.
Yes. The council.
We need a second. You're not out of the house yet.
Stuck in that, yeah. Tarver.
Seconds, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, everyone, for driving in.
But in
Appreciate it.
honor of special birthdays.
Oh, look at her.
Don't sit